Women don't respect you. And part of the reason why women don't truly respect you is because you're not radically honest in your conversations with them. You're so afraid of losing her that you suppress what you actually want to say. You subtly change your expression. You agree when you don't feel like agreeing. You make points more easily digestible instead of being a little bit raw around the edges. And it's not even your fault, by the way. Society has conditioned you. Society has taught you that all women want is a kind man. And is it true that women want a man who's kind? Of course. But if that was all it took, evidently, you'd already be in a happy relationship with a woman who is right for you. So there must be more. One of the things that I would offer you is to remove the filters from your communication with women. You are being so fake. Even if you don't think you are, you are. If you can get some dates, but the women you actually want, they lose interest in you, it's in part because you're not showing your true colors. You're not saying what you actually believe. You're not radically honest. You know, people talk about creating spikes in conversations with women. I talk about that you need to learn to communicate at the level of emotion, not just logic. And one out of many ways to do that is to create emotional spikes. Well, guess what happens when you're radically honest over the course of a 2-hour date? You're going to say some things you'll really agree with and some things, that might cause a temporary negative spike. Not a negative spike, but it's polarizing. It creates all sorts of emotions within her. If you say what you actually truly believe and then you remove the filters from your communication and you risk losing her, then you will become the most attractive version of yourself to the right woman, not to all women. I love it when women, or rather men, who watch my content, who then meet me in person, go, "Hey, so David, can you get all of the girls?" No. Since when can I control free will? Since when have I communicated on this platform that I'm going to teach you how to get all the girls? This is about finding a quality, meaningful relationship with a woman who is actually truly right for you. Yes, that in consequence means you will learn to communicate in a way where way more women, and more importantly, the right ones, will find you attractive. But if you're not compatible, you're not supposed to try to make it work. This is not about tricks or mystery. This is about you being as polarizing as humanly possible and parting the sea like Moses. You communicate like lukewarm water right now. If you're single, even though you would like to be in a relationship with an amazing woman that you can share life with, you are lukewarm in your communication with women. You're not terrible. Women usually feel comfortable around you. You're a nice, kind person, but you either get friend-zoned or the right ones, they actually lose interest in you. You have blind spots in your communication that you need to get rid of. And one extremely important one is being radically honest. And this goes way deeper than you think, my friend. Even if you think you're being honest, you're not. "Oh, I could never say this on a first date." You would not believe what you can get away with if it's calibrated and it's kind and it comes from a caring place. You can say really wild, crazy things, and guess what? Women love it. If you can be kind and free in your expression at the same time and calibrated, that's an unbelievably rare combination, because women usually meet one of the following two types of guys. Either the guy who is completely over the top, he's just an asshole, let's face it. He's just so free in his expression, but he doesn't care how he impacts people. Or they meet women they meet men like you, who are so stuck and stifled because they're very professional. Maybe you're doing extremely well in your career or your business and you're very professional in your communication, very filtered, in other words, which works in that environment, but not so well with women, actually. Well, and they get bored and they lose interest because they don't see you as a man. She doesn't respect you because she doesn't perceive you as a man. If you're not radically honest, you're not creating emotional spikes. You're not creating attraction. If attraction dies off, respect dies off as well, and vice versa. It goes both ways. Respect goes down, attraction goes down, or attraction goes down, respect goes down. Both can either be the cause or the effect. I would encourage you to write down the answer to the following 3 questions. Who am I? Where am I going? And with whom? Who am I? What do I actually stand for as a man? What must never be said about you at your funeral? Because we don't just define ourselves in accordance with things, we also define ourselves in opposition to things. So if you want to become really free in your expression on dates, to be the most attractive version you could possibly be, you really have to know what you're for, know what you're against, communicate that unapologetically, unashamedly, yet still in fun and playful. That's still important. The first couple of dates, the first month, really has to be fun and playful. And you have to be willing to walk away, because she can never respect you if she senses neediness. And you may not be needy with women that you don't want, but if you actually really like her, there's a sense of neediness. That doesn't mean that you can't communicate desire or intent. Yes, you should communicate your intent, your romantic intent, your desire, right from the beginning. That's absolutely vital. She needs to feel that you are romantically interested in her. But she also has to feel that you don't need her. There's a difference between love, neediness, desire, and attachment. I've spoken about it at length in other videos, but maybe a quick little summary. Neediness really is the problem, because that's the belief, conscious or unconscious, that your happiness depends on this one individual. The number one type of message I get on Instagram is, David, there's this one girl, how do I make it work with her? Or she broke up with me. It's always about one individual. And I understand. That's how we are as men. It hurts. There's this one girl, she was meeting her need for love and connection like most men weren't. And you weren't spending enough time with quality male friends, by the way. So this is taken away from us and we suffer. Like, that's neediness. The belief that your happiness depends on this one individual. Remember what Marshall Rosenberg, founder of nonviolent communication, said. Any psychological need you have, for example, the one for love and connection, can be met independently of any particular individual. Your need for love and connection can be met through family members, quality male friends, a dog, get a dog, but also spend time with quality male friends. It's the single most important thing you can do. And guess what? Get more quality options. You need at least one quality date every single week. If you don't have at least one quality date every single week, you will never find the right girlfriend or wife. You'll settle for somebody who isn't right for you, and you'll live a life of quiet desperation. Now, what's desire? Desire is just you wanting her. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's communicated in a calibrated and effective fashion. Number 3 is attachment. And that's just something that happens when two people, men and women, men and men, in friendships, spend enough time together. That happens. And that's why a breakup hurts. Not because your heart is damaged or your heart is broken. Guess what? Heartbreak is real. Neurologically speaking, your heart does not break. There is no permanent damage after a breakup, unless you carry the belief that you got trauma from it. If that's the belief you have, yes, then it's going to keep damaging you. And the nocebo effect, the negative placebo effect, is going to keep hurting your nervous system. That's true. But if you believe this made me better, this made me more caring, this made me more loving, this made me stronger, this made me more resilient, that is the reality you're going to experience as a man. The last one, number 4, is love. What is love? In all spiritual and religious traditions, love is described as a combination of an attitude of giving, which then manifests itself in action. It's an attitude of giving without expecting anything in return, caring and giving, not wanting or needing, and that manifests itself in action. Love is action and attitude. It is both. It has nothing to do with what you want. That's why sometimes the most loving thing is to actually end the relationship and to let her go. Because letting her go may be exactly what you and her need. And if you really love her, you might have to let her go. Loving people, friends or family members, can mean telling them something they don't want to hear. But it's the kind thing to do, because you're willing to put your own need for harmony aside, and you're willing to step into constructive, loving conflict, not to blame them, not to have a moment of ego, but to tell them something they really need to hear. When I call you out, it comes from a loving place. When I tell you, you suck at communicating with women, it's just me pointing out a lack of skill. If I'm telling you you're currently coming from scarcity, it's not to make you feel bad. It's to give you the truth, because the truth is going to set you free. If somebody tells you you're fat as a man and you need to lose weight, that's not fat shaming. That's encouraging you to live a healthier life, because too much body fat increases the probability of a heart attack. It decreases testosterone. It makes you feel bad as a man. So if somebody tells you that as a man, they come from a kind and caring place. I went through a time where I gained a little bit of weight while I was already with Fernanda. And my friend, he gifted me the same weight loss book 2 years in a row. He called me a white whale. We were swimming in Ireland, an hour south of Dublin, and he goes, make the white whale noise. Ooh, that hurt. I didn't want to hear that. But he came from a place of love because he wanted me to be in shape. Guess what? Now I'm in shape. I also asked my friend who's the best weight loss coach in Germany for help. And he gave me, I basically got 3 months one-on-one coaching, and I lost a tremendous amount of weight, and I'm in amazing shape. I'm not in perfect shape, but I'm in pretty good shape. I can do 100 pull-ups in 40 minutes. Can you do 100 pull-ups in 40 minutes? No. It's just practice, by the way. What a weird way to brag. I understand, right? But I'm in pretty good shape because I got help and I got called out. So it comes from love. And the same is true in your relationships with friends and family members, and you have to do that on a date as well. Now, the first date is not you calling her out, but being free in your expression. That's why I'm not here to try to turn you into somebody else. But if you want to find a woman who's actually right for you, you need to double down on who you are. Radically, honestly, you, not my style. My mentor, who I met 8 years ago working for a big technology company in the US called Salesforce, he has a very different communication style to me. My clients, they all have very unique individual communication styles. You have your own, but the principles behind it, they're the same, and then they work, and then you can actually sustain attraction for the long term. Remove the filters from your communication. Imagine this analogy of Michelangelo. He saw the David in the statue. He just carved away what didn't belong. Yes, you want to add a skill set of learning to communicate effectively, approaching in-person dating apps. You add a skill set, and then you remove the types of social conditioning that are no longer serving you. And you say what you actually believe. Fun, playful, and calibrated. But you say what you actually believe and you're willing to walk away from the table. Because if you're not willing to leave the date, the relationship, 1 day in, a year in, 10 years in, if you can't have an underlying willingness to end it, if a fundamental lack of compatibility should present itself, you will never be able to negotiate for your needs. If you cannot negotiate or communicate your needs, they will not be met and you'll be in pain. And since compatibility is the #1 factor for relationship success, she should be able to do the same. This is not just you getting your needs met and she not. No. You have such a high level of compatibility that if you express yourself honestly, together, both, 95% of the time, none of you will have to sacrifice or make a compromise.